She lost her husband to corruption, but not her courage. In the face of threats, betrayal, and fear, Chioma refuses to bow. Now her fight for justice enters a dangerous new stage, one that will either break her or change her community forever. Welcome back to The Widow Who Fought for Justice, Part 2. After weeks of fear and silence, Chioma received a strange call on a rainy night. The voice was low and urgent. "Meet me tomorrow at the Echo Hotel lobby if you want the truth." Her heart pounded, but she knew she had to go. The next day, dressed in a black gown with her scarf tied firmly, she stepped into the marble lobby of the Grand Hotel. There, a middle-aged banker in a fine suit waited nervously. His eyes darted left and right as he whispered, "Madam, I worked with them. I know where the money is hidden." He slid a brown envelope across the table. Inside were bank records, billions stolen, names she already suspected. Chioma's fingers shook as she held the evidence that could destroy them. But the man leaned closer and warned, "If they find out I gave you this, my life is over." That night, as she drove through Victoria Island, she noticed 2 motorbikes following close behind. Her children were asleep in the back seat. Panic seized her chest. She pressed harder on the accelerator, weaving through traffic, horns blaring, prayers filling her mouth. The bikers chased, headlights glowing in her mirrors, but they swerved sharply into a crowded fuel station. The bikers paused, watching her, then disappeared into the night. Trembling, she kissed her children's foreheads and whispered through tears, "God, protect me. I cannot stop now." Days later, Chioma met Adara, a fearless young journalist, in a quiet cafe in Ikoyi. Adara wore jeans and a blazer, her eyes sharp with fire. Chioma laid everything before her, the documents, the threats, the betrayals. Adara listened, her eyes widening. "This is massive. If we publish this, it will shake the nation." For the first time, Chioma felt less alone, but Adara warned her gently, "Be ready. Once we move, they will come after you harder." But before hope could bloom, betrayal struck from within her own family. Her elder brother, Uche, dressed in agbada and dripping with wealth, came to her home. He pulled her aside and hissed, "Chioma, stop this madness. You're disgracing us. These men have offered me money to silence you. Take it and end this." Chioma's heart broke as she looked at her own blood and whispered, "Uche, they ended Emeka's life. How can you ask me to take blood money?" He turned coldly and walked away, leaving her with tears streaming down her cheeks. But Adara brought fresh courage. Together they traveled to Abuja, disguising themselves in plain clothes. Inside a dusty government storage room, Chioma's hands trembled as she held secret files marked confidential. They revealed billions meant for hospitals and schools, stolen by the same men. Under the Abuja night sky, Chioma lifted her face and whispered, "Emeka, your death will not be in vain. The truth is close." Yet danger was never far. On her way back to Lagos, Chioma's car was blocked by a black Prado Jeep. Masked men dragged her out, shoving her into their vehicle. Fear gripped her chest, but as the Jeep sped away, a police siren wailed nearby. Panicked, the kidnappers pushed her out onto the road and sped off. She rolled onto the ground, bruised and bleeding, but alive. Looking up at the night sky, she whispered through pain, "Not even death will stop me." But all the fear, betrayals, and near-death moments weighed on her spirit. One night, she sat in her children's room watching them sleep peacefully. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Maybe I should stop before I lose everything." Her heart ached with exhaustion, but then she remembered Emeka's laughter, his dreams, his love for his people. She wiped her tears, stood tall, and declared, "No, I will finish this fight." The next morning, with fresh strength, she walked into Adara's office. She laid all the evidence on the table, her voice firm and steady. "Let us publish everything. The world must see." Adara nodded, and her team worked tirelessly. At last, the story broke on TV, radio, newspapers, and social media. The nation shook with outrage. Chioma sat quietly in her home, her children holding her hands as she watched the faces of the guilty men flash across the evening news. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "It has begun." What followed was an uprising. In Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, thousands filled the streets. Placards rose high, voices thundered through the air. No more corruption, justice for Emeka. International voices joined in, demanding arrests. Chioma joined the protests quietly, in her wrapper and head tie, but strangers recognized her and said, "Madam, your courage gave us strength." She wept, not from pain this time, but from pride. Months later, justice finally came. Ministers, politicians, and powerful men were arrested, their wealth seized, their names forever stained. For the first time, funds began flowing back into hospitals, schools, and roads. Communities that had suffered for years felt hope rising like the morning sun. Standing on her balcony in Lagos, Chioma watched her children play freely. The golden Lagos sunset filled the sky as she whispered softly, "Emeka, we did it. Your death was not in vain." And so, Chioma's journey came to an end, not with fear, but with victory. She stood against the powerful, she faced betrayal, threats, and pain, yet she never bowed. Because of her courage, the truth was revealed, and her community was changed forever. Remember this: silence protects the corrupt, but courage sets a nation free. This is Echoes of Hope, where every story carries a lesson, and every voice reminds us that truth always finds its way. Until next time, keep hope alive.